good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good morning. Hey, Judy, Chinny, Terry, Carla. Hey, guys, it's so good to see you guys. So, we finally got done with the driver's testimony, and this morning we are going to hear from the 911 dispatch supervisor, Sandra Hill. Her testimony is about a half an hour, and then for 42 minutes, we have, I can't say his name, Gamaliel Catalan, and he is the 911 supervisor. I don't know why we need to hear from both of these people. And I doubt that we're going to get through. Hey, Jelly Bean. I doubt we're going to get through both of them, depending on when the Karen Reed hearing starts. But we're going to try. And it also depends on how well StreamYard behaves. But Jilly's here, and she has one job, and she knows what that job is. So Jilly's job is to insult StreamYard. Hey, Carla.
Sandra, Sandra, Hill, Hill. I'm a public safety dispatch supervisor for the California Highway Patrol.
Thank you. You may proceed. Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Hill. I get a question there. I might throw me off, so I'm going to ask you again. What exactly do you do?
I am a public safety dispatch supervisor. Dispatchers in our dispatch operations, and I have a administrative assignment, and I'm in charge of our computerized systems.
Why don't you just sit back there and pull the microphone a little closer to you and ask you a few more questions. How long have you been working for the Highway Patrol in that position?
For 17 years.
So you're obviously working in that position in February 2003.
Yes, I was.
Are you also a custodian of records for those documents and tapes?
Yes, I supervise the custodian of records.
When you say you supervise them, exactly what do you do?
I oversee how they do their job and replace them when they're absent.
Because of your job, because of your duties, would you be familiar with how the 911 system works in Los Angeles County?
Yes.
And if I'm in the city of Alhambra in 2003, February 2003, and made a call on a cell phone, are you familiar how that 911 call would be answered?
Yes, at that time, all cellular 911 calls were routed to the California Highway Patrol.
Regardless of who I really wanted, if I wanted the Alhambra Police Department or the Alhambra Fire Department or the CHP, if I made that call on a cell phone, it would still go to the CHP, the California Highway Patrol.
Yes.
Has that changed?
Yes, it has.
Now it runs a little different.
Yes.
Now it goes directly to the agency.
In most areas, yes.
Okay. But we're talking about February 2003. So please explain that to me. If I'm in the city of Alhambra on my cell phone, I make a 911 call, it goes to the California Highway Patrol. What happens then?
Once we've determined the location and nature of the incident, we transfer it to the correct allied agency.
When you say we determine that, who would determine that?
The operator who takes the call.
So I make the call on my cell phone and someone's going to answer California Highway Patrol?
They'll answer 911 emergency.
Okay. And then what happens? Is the operator going to inquire of the caller?
What they will ask, what are they reporting? And they will ask the location of the incident.
And when the operator gets those answers from the callers, do they make some determination
As to,
what they should do with the call?
yes,
So in my hypothetical, calling from Alhambra reporting a crime in February 2003, a crime with a gun, what would happen? I call, you ask me, where are you and what are you reporting? And I say, I'm at 1700 Grandview in Alhambra and there's a man with a gun, or my boss just shot someone or just killed someone. What happens?
they would most likely transfer it to the police department.
The Alhambra Police Department. Okay. Is there some system, or was there some system in place in February 2003 to try to record those calls?
Yes.
Could you describe that for us, please?
The system archives our calls onto a DVD recording, and they are held for 180 days.
Are they sometimes held longer?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. And in fact, in December of 2003, was the California Highway Patrol asked to try to recover any calls made from 1700 Grandview in Alhambra about 5 o'clock in the morning concerning a shooting, a murder.
Yes, they were.
Your Honor, objection. You know, that's what the jury will determine, but you have to remember what was being investigated, what is charged, so that term is not pejorative in the sense that it's being used. If that's an objection, it's overruled. You may proceed.
And what did the California Highway Patrol, what did you do?
We searched through our computerized journaling system for any calls from that location on that date.
And what was the result of that search?
We located one incident,
Just one.
just one.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the 180 days situation. I think earlier you said that the California Highway Patrol, as a matter of policy, kept those calls for 180 days. Is that correct?
Yes,
Well, this request was made to you after the 180 days, isn't that right?
yes, there's time our purge cycle falls behind.
Okay. Purge cycle, explain that.
The 180 days. After 180 days, the calls are erased and the DVDs are reused for more recent calls.
But that doesn't always happen right on time.
No,
So in this situation, fortunately, the DVDs that these calls are recorded on were not erased. And when you were requested by the LA Sheriff's Department in December of 2003 to retrieve these calls, or this call, you were able to.
yes.
And explain to us how that call is retrieved and how it's stored and how it's preserved.
Once we've located a computerized incident, we search through our archiving system by position that is marked on the incident itself, who took the call, and we look through calls that caller received for that particular call.
Now, when you say you look through the calls, as if there was more than one call, would you found that too, or just one, or
Yes.
how does that? How are you sure that you get all the calls?
Yes, it searches for the entire date for all calls from that location.
And this is a computer that does this.
Yes,
And as a result of that, you found one call.
yes.
Your Honor, I'd like to mark another exhibit. I think our next in order is People's 36.
It is.
It's a two-page printed document from the California Highway Patrol. I'm going to ask Sue here to put it up on the screen, just page 1. And it's trying to focus. So I'll have to wait while it thinks.
You're vamping, Mr. Dixon, but there it is.
There we go. This is page 1 of People's 36 to 3. May I approach, please?
You may.
Thank you. Ms. Hill, I'm going to show you what we marked as People's 36 for identification. It's a 2-page document. I'd like you to look at it for just a moment. And then when you've done that, I'd like to ask you, what exactly is this? Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize it?
It states the California Highway Patrol centralized CAD journaling system. This is a copy of one of our computerized generated logs.
And is this made under your supervision where you work at the California Highway Patrol?
Yes,
And is it made at or near the time of a specific incident or call?
yes,
And it's part of your duties to maintain it?
yes,
And it's a true and accurate copy of what happened, of the
yes,
call? Does it reflect a specific call or a specific incident?
yes, it does.
And could you tell us what it reflects? What does it say?
7, which is penal code for murder at 1700 Grandview Drive. The operator's position number where they were sitting was position 30. It shows their identification number and the date that the call was taken
And what date was that?
on February 3rd, 2003
What time?
at 0504:52.
So 5:04 in the morning.
Yes,
And does the document People's 36 for identification reflect the conversation between the operator and the caller?
yes.
And what does it say?
It says RP, meaning reporting party, advising his boss just killed someone. RP heard the shot and can see a lady lying on the ground. There's abbreviations which mean transferred to Alhambra PD
And
and
that
their
would-
telephone number.
And that would be part of the policy that you just told us about, is that correct?
Correct.
After your operator at the California Highway Patrol determines what this call's about and where it should go, they send it off to the right agency.
Yes.
And does the rest of the document reflect the remainder of this call?
Yes.
Is there a log number that's attached to each one of these calls?
Yes.
Could you explain that for us, please?
The log number on this particular incident is log number 235, which is the 235th incident that's been recorded on that date. Every date at midnight, the incident numbers start again at number 1.
So as of 5:04 in the morning, there'd already been 230 911 calls to the California Highway Patrol?
235 incidents generated.
So and that's the log number. That's unique to this call.
Yes.
Correct. Now, as a result of your search, would you've also obtained audio recording of this call?
Yes.
And that's from the DVDs?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, could we play this so that the witness could authenticate it?
Yes.
So, Your Honor, I think it's already been authenticated. It's been authenticated by Mr. D'Souza, and I believe it's also been played already twice. So it's become cumulative.
I'll allow you just to play the introduction to authenticate it insofar as it has been played more than once.
In light
Do you want to mark this?
pardon, it's already been marked as People's 32,
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. All right.
and in light of the court's ruling there, does the court feel that we need to hand out the transcripts for this?
No.
Okay, thank you. If you give us just a moment.
Of course.
Set this up.
California Highway Patrol, Los Angeles Communications Center for February 3rd, 2003. All 911 calls related to log number 235-1700 Grandview Drive in Alhambra are included. This tape runs from approximately 0500 to 0510 hours. Long blank spaces and/or transmissions not concerning this incident have been deleted. This tape was prepared on December 29th, 2003 at 8:01 hours by Public Safety Dispatch Supervisor 1 Sandra Hill, ID number Adam 9316. I hereby certify that this cassette recording is a true copy of the original master tape on file with Department of the California Highway Patrol, Los Angeles Communications Center, Los Angeles, California.
I think we played the introduction to People's 32. Is that what the court had in mind?
Yes, and that would be the tape that you've been testifying, or the recording you've been testifying to?
Yes.
Does anybody wish any further foundation?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
By the way, did you recognize that voice?
Yes,
Whose is that?
mine,
Okay.
Have
So
some
you,
practice at doing that?
just a little.
all right. And so when you prepared People's 32, what we just listened to, at least in part, you prepared that introduction, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your preference for being addressed, Miss, Mrs., or Ms.?
Miss.
Miss, okay. Sounds like you've made the introduction on a number of recordings before this one, is that correct?
Yes, I have.
I thought so. Okay. I want to ask you a few questions here, if I may. If I understand the procedure, what happens is that at that time, let's just talk about February of 2003. At that time, if a 911 emergency call were placed from a cellular phone, the policy in place was that it was routed immediately to the California Highway Patrol. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And then the dispatcher or the operator would intake information, and based on whatever the information was, that particular dispatcher or operator would thereafter choose a course of conduct. Is that correct?
yes,
All right. Now, I think you told Mr. Dixon a moment ago that has now been changed. Is that correct?
yes,
And now, as I understand it, is that things are routed directly to the jurisdictional agency. Is that right?
throughout most of the county, yes.
Okay, so if that call that came in then were to come in today, what we would expect to happen is that call would not go to the CHP as it did 4 years ago, but it would go directly to the Alhambra Police Department. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, depended on that location, then it would route to the correct agency.
Okay, let's assume that 1700 Grandview is in the city of Alhambra, then we would hope and expect it to be routed to the Alhambra Police
Yes.
Department. All right. Do you know when the system was changed? When
For the routing of 911s?
Yes, in other words, between February of 2003, when we know that it went to you folks as opposed to Alhambra directly, and today, do you know when that system was changed so that now it is a direct routing system?
I don't know the exact date, no, but it has been, they've been working through changing the system for quite some time.
Okay, would I be correct in also assuming that you don't know why the system particularly was changed?
Yes, I do.
Okay, why don't you tell us?
It was changed to better handle those types of calls rather than all calls coming through the California Highway Patrol. They would be better, the public would be better served by them going to their primary answering point for emergency services.
Less burden for the Highway Patrol and certainly more efficient for the caller.
Correct.
Okay. Let's take a moment. You indicated in your testimony, Jen, could we please have 756 pagination page back up on the screen, which has now been marked as People's 36. Ms. Hill, I'm going to ask you to take a look over there again. Can you read that, or better if we blow it up for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you blow that up, Jen, please? Maybe a little bit more, is it possible? Let's do the section where it starts with log : 0235 and ends a little bit further down where the word witness appears. A little further down, please. Up. Keep going up. There we go. Right there is fine. Okay. Can you see that? Is that better?
Yes,
All right. If you have trouble, I have the hard copy here. I can bring it up to you.
I can see that.
Okay. Now, this 2-page document, what do you call this again? This is called a journaling system entry?
Yes, it's our computerized CAD journaling system is where the call is retrieved, or the incident is retrieved from.
Okay. And the information that appears there comes from the retrieval of the information that's been recorded, correct?
Yes.
All right. So let's take a look at this a minute. You indicated the log number here is log number 0235, and that log is particular and peculiar just to this call. Is that correct?
Yes,
All right, so that log number, once it's assigned, and in this instance, once it was assigned to this caller, it would not be assigned to any other calls that day, is that right?
that's correct.
And what time did this call come in?
At 5:04 a.m.
And there's another time recorded a couple minutes later, almost 2 minutes later, 5:06:59 below that. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right, and what is that particular time to see? What does that indicate, that time number?
It appears that during a conversation, the information was obtained from the caller. An initial update was made to the incident, and then further update was made.
There's no name on this document indicating who the caller was, is that correct?
Below, there should be a witness field.
Okay. There should be a name, a proper name, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. Have you had a chance to review this before you came to court today?
Yes, I have.
And did you find the proper name here?
It appears there's a name there,
Okay.
whether that's a proper name or,
All right, you're looking at it where it says Souzh, correct?
yes,
All right. And that is that the name that would have been obtained by the operator? Is that correct?
yes,
All right. Now, as I understand it, the information that we see here, this information comes from the caller, correct?
yes,
It is transmitted from the caller to the operator, and then the operator records it digitally or some other way, and it comes out as we see it here on People's 36. Is that correct?
yes,
All right. So this information, as you look at it, is limited strictly to the voice of the caller and no other source. That's a fair statement, isn't it?
yes,
And the interpretation of what the caller speaks, the words that that individual speaks to whomever the operator is that receives that information, gets placed in this particular exhibit, People's 36, correct?
yes,
So it is either all of the language that the caller speaks to the operator, or it's all of the language of the operator, or a combination of both. Is that a fair statement?
yes,
Okay. At the time that this information was received, there's no information to indicate here that any particular individual had been charged with a 187. Isn't that true?
yes,
Okay. And as you indicated, 187 is a penal code section, correct?
yes, it is.
Now, the numbers 187 are highlighted. Jen has helped us up there. And those numbers come from the operator. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Ms. Hill, am I correct in understanding that the operator is not a law enforcement individual in the sense that that person is a sworn CHP officer? That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
That individual is a private citizen like myself who works for the California Highway Patrol in the capacity as an operator, correct?
Yes,
All right. That individual, you've already told us, is not law enforcement, correct?
no,
And that individual is not a lawyer, such as the folks here at the council's table, correct?
correct.
And most importantly, that individual is not a sworn deputy district attorney, such as Mr. Dixon and or Mr. Jackson, correct?
Correct.
So when that individual, that operator, decides to designate a particular call based on the information from the caller and decides to choose a particular penal code section or a particular business and professions code section or a health and safety code section where we find many of the crimes defined, it is up to them to place those numbers opposite the word type behind the colon sign, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And they're the ones that put that information there, right?
Yes.
No one else.
No.
Okay. Now, in this instance, regarding People's 36, you don't have any reason to believe that what we've been talking about is any different. In other words, the information wound up there as we've been discussing it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to ask you one other area of question, if I may, ma'am, and we'll get you out of here before the lunch hour, okay? As I understand it, you've been a public safety dispatch supervisor for the California Highway Patrol for 17 years, is that right?
Well, I've worked for the California Highway Patrol for 17 years. I've been a supervisor for 14.
Okay, so you're a veteran of this job, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. And as I understand it, you have two job responsibilities. One is to supervise dispatchers under you who are coming up through the ranks, correct?
Yes.
And the second one was you take care of the computer system in some capacity. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. Are you considered the custodian of records?
My employee is the custodian of records,
Okay.
and in her stead, I am the custodian of records.
All right. When the call first comes in from the 911 mobile phone, now again, we're talking back in February of '03, not today. When the call first comes in, it is immediately, or it was at that time, immediately routed in to CHP, correct?
Yes.
And it was immediately routed to the dispatcher, is that right?
Yes.
And as I understand it, this dispatcher, who you've already described as being a civilian individual without legal training, and I don't mean that in a pejorative way, that individual, based on the information that they receive in the 911 call, designates and decides how to classify the call, correct?
Yes.
What information is going to trigger their decision as to what choice to make as to how it should be handled, correct?
They can use the information that's being provided by the caller
Correct.
and what's being reported.
Okay. And then they can decide what they believe is in the best interest of the incident as to how it should be handled.
That is correct.
All right. And in this instance, as I understand it, once this information was garnered by the operator, the dispatcher, it was then passed on to Alhambra PD. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And that was done through a communication system, isn't that right?
Yes.
And as I understand it, that was the operator's, the CHP dispatcher's decision, correct?
Yes.
May I have just one moment, please, Your Honor?
Yes.
Looking at the exhibit People's 36, did you see any indication that the CHP operator had sent an ambulance to the location?
No, I did not.
Can you tell from reviewing People's 36 whether or not any medical aid was ever sent to that location?
No.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Redirect.
Just a couple questions. I think defense counsel just asked you whether or not the operators, the dispatchers, were lawyers. They aren't lawyers, are they?
No.
They don't have to be, thank goodness, right? They don't have to be trained lawyers or prosecutors, right?
Correct.
But they are trained, I assume, trained in determining with some degree of accuracy what's going on with these calls. Isn't that correct?
Yes, they are.
Could you explain that a little bit more for me?
A very lengthy process. They go through academy classes for approximately 4 weeks. They come back with a one-on-one trainer who teaches them how to handle call-taking duties. And then they once again go to academy and learn dispatching skills, and then come back for more one-on-one training
And why all the training?
to ensure they're able to properly handle the calls.
This is a critical link in the whole law enforcement emergency system. Is the dispatcher who answers the 911 call, correct?
Yes.
And wouldn't you agree that one of the most important things that they learn is to be accurate in the information that they take down?
Yes.
So if our document, People's 36, says that the caller said his boss just killed someone and sees the lady lying on the ground, as a supervisor, would you have some degree of confidence that that's what happened? At least that's what the operator heard?
Yes,
That's what they're trained to do, correct?
yes.
And section for murder, is that important that in each call the dispatcher try to assign some tag to it, penal code section tag to the call?
No,
Why would they in this situation?
I really couldn't answer that.
Is that in the training a requirement to try to do that or not?
No,
Would that help law enforcement in some way to prioritize what calls to answer, how quickly to answer a call?
Are you able to answer that based on personal knowledge? I asked if she's, I just asked her. if she's- Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, would you just,
dispatchers have several choices of how to type a call.
And what are
So
those?
it doesn't necessarily, would it have to be a penal code section in order to accurately reflect an incident that's being reported?
okay.
What are their choices?
They could have type coded a shots fired incident. They could have recorded it as a request for an ambulance because somebody was injured. Could have type coded it simply crime.
Or they could have type coded at 187.
Yes.
As a supervisor with 17 years of experience, would you have a problem with the way this was type coded?
Objection. Overruled.
No.
All right. Thank you, nothing further.
Recross?
Let's say agree.
I wouldn't believe it, but you.
We're still going to try and get you out for lunch. Giselle, take a look at People's 36 again, would you? You just told Mr. Dixon that these folks go through quite an intensive training program, don't they?
Yes.
It's not, we don't just grab somebody off the street and throw them in the operators or dispatch room for the CHP, do we?
No.
And we didn't do that in February of '03, did we?
No.
What we did do is take individuals that were trained and had experience, correct?
Yes.
Academy training, one-on-one training, and actual experience training, correct?
Correct.
And you're satisfied as you sit here today that when you look at this, the information that is reported there was reported by somebody who was very professional, whoever that operator was, correct?
Yes.
I don't think this question was asked, but that operator wasn't you, was it?
No.
Okay, so these are not your words.
No, they're
And
not.
this is not your, you did not generate this report.
No, I did not.
Okay. Would you take a look at the one area there where it says in the middle? You see where it says, can see a lady, yes, thank you, can see a lady lying on the ground?
Yes.
Okay. And based on what you just described, that was recorded by the operator who had all this training and professionalism, correct?
Yes.
And you have no reason to suspect that there's anything incorrect about that information that your operator, the CHP operator, recorded on People's 36 from the information received from the caller, correct?
Correct.
Now, one other thing. The individual, the young lady or young man who was the operator on that particular day, I don't know, typed it as a 187, correct?
Yes.
And you indicated it could have been typed in different ways. It could have been typed as a shots fired, correct?
Yes.
It could have been typed as a request for an ambulance, correct?
Correct.
It could have been typed as a crime, is that right?
Yes.
Ms. Hill, the operator who took this call and recorded this information did not have the decision-making power nor process to decide whether or not a crime had even been committed based on this information, correct? That individual could not enter into the decision-making process as to whether or not a crime had been committed, correct?
That is correct.
All that individual does, as I understand it, is listen to the information and then as best as they can to their ability, try and pick the appropriate word to describe in this area or in the section entitled type, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you very much. Nothing further.
Thank you, redirect.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, subject to recall, you're excused. Thank you for being here. You can discuss your testimony if you want. Thank you. Do you have another witness?
We do? Do you want to?
Let's get a few minutes in. Sure.
Well, we're required to go through post-training through, which is mandated by the state of California. Done my basic dispatcher course there. Also done my supervisory ongoing training that the state requires, which is 24 hours every 2 years.
Please tell us what your current duty
Center, which includes 2 shifts. Also responsible for scheduling employees. Also custodian of audio recordings that come in through either the phone or radio transmissions. Also prepare those documents for court and other dispatch duties.
Okay. I appreciate
There's a PSAP Center, which is a public safety answering point for the city of Alhambra. We receive all 911 calls that come in from within the city. We also handle non-emergency calls that come in through our 7-digit number. We also dispatch not only police, but back in 80 or 93, correction, 2003, dispatch the fire department. Also public works throughout the city to take care of different city problems.
In your earlier answer, you said you've been working in this job for 14 years.
Correct.
So you were working in your current position in February 3rd of 2003. Is that correct?
Actually, I was a lead supervisor or lead dispatcher supervisor back in 2003.
And what was it between that job and your job? All right.
That's correct.
Okay. On your job in your 14 years experience, if on February 3rd, 2003, a person made a cell phone call from inside the city of Alhambra, for example, 1700 Grandview in Alhambra, and it was a 911 call, what would happen to it? And would it get to the city of Alhambra? Would it get to where you work?
Eventually it would, but all 911 calls on cell phones would go directly to CHP.
No?
It has, yes.
And how?
Well, cell phone providers have put up more antennas, and we're able to, what they call in the industry, cell phone callers on phase 2 are able to, we're able to receive a phone number, a location where they're calling from, and an address, and GPS. In other words, we can pinpoint them within sometimes 50 meters or 100 meters where they're calling from. But that's due because cell phone providers were able to implement this.
So that's quite an advance in health
It is.
public safety.
Just like technology, everything is moving forward.
All right. Well, we're now talking about February 3rd, 2003. So walk us quickly through what would happen in my hypothetical. I'm on a cell phone. I make a 911 call.
That's correct. And just like any agency or call center, they would screen that call and make sure they route that to the proper agency.
And if I was in my hypothetical calling from within the city of Alhambra, would it come to you?
That is correct, yes.
What would happen then?
Well, again, if it's a police or fire matter, we will handle that directly and dispatch appropriate resources to the emergency.
And if I was calling on in some fashion, it would be recorded by your police department in Alhambra.
Every time the line is activated or picked up, the recording or the system will record. We have at the back then we had a system called Audio Log put out by Stansel, and every time a line would be activated or a line could be
Just before noon, and although we're on the edge of our seats, we will. All right. All right, back on the record, the parties are present with the exception of the jurors and the alternates, yes?
There was a scheduling issue that we thought we should bring to the attention of the court.
Okay,
I would expect that Wednesday afternoon, since we aren't going to be in session Wednesday morning with the jury,
yes,
Wednesday afternoon, our next witness is Dr. Pena.
okay,
We just found out that county council has also subpoenaed him on a child abuse case. And he is in, scheduled to be in Department 405 that same afternoon. Apparently they've had him under subpoena also. And I've pressed the point that he is testifying in the child abuse case.
okay, okay, thank you. All right. The record will reflect the presence of the jurors, the alternates, and the witness.
Thank you, Honor. Good afternoon, sir. I think when we left at the court character, it's exciting issue.
I didn't say that.
No, not exactly.
Not exactly.
My camera was off. I didn't type anything. I didn't share comments. I didn't do anything. I was crocheting, just watching, minding my own business.
At the Alhambra Police Department. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, this system would also take in all calls to the fire department too?
Any emergency call that required police and fire, yes.
And I think what I either was asking you or about to ask you, so I'll ask it again, out of abundance of caution, is how do you preserve these calls? Those are kept for some period of time?
Yes.
How long?
In our department, it's been a policy for 2 years.
District Attorney's Office to search for any calls that day about 5 o'clock in the morning from 1700 Grandview in Alhambra.
I was.
And what was the result of that request in your search?
In my search, I located one call. It was a transfer from CHP to our center. And I was only able to locate one call.
Once you located that one call, did you do anything to preserve it?
I copied that into a tape.
CD?
CD tape.
Or tape?
Recorder.
And that was eventually delivered to the District Attorney's Office.
That's
Is that correct? Now, in your earlier answer just a moment ago, you said you searched and there was just one call.
That is correct.
And this one call was a transfer from the California Highway Patrol.
Yes.
Mean to you in terms of how the call was made?
Most likely it was a cellular call that went to CHP and they determined that The address was in our city and they transferred that call to us. Yes.
And that's how that was done at that time.
That's correct.
I think as you told us, that's changed now.
Correct.
Did you also make a search of your system, for want of a better term, for any landline calls made from that address, 1700 Grandview, on that day about that time to the Alhambra Police Department or Fire Department?
Yes, sir.
You did?
Yes.
And the result of that search was?
No calls.
No calls. This was the only one, the cell phone call, apparently cell phone call to the Highway Patrol transferred to the Alhambra Police Department, Fire Department. Is that right? Okay. I placed in front of you a document which I'd like to mark now, Your Honor. This is an 8-page document from the city of Alhambra documenting some activity on that day. It's an 8-page document, as I mentioned. May that be marked as People's 37, please?
37.
Thank you. We have the front. Thank you very much, Sudie. And I placed a copy of that document in front of you, People's 37, correct?
Correct.
You've had a chance to look at that document before coming today.
Yes, I did.
What is it?
It's an incident record form that is created by the dispatch center. It's created by dispatchers who create calls for dispatch, whether it's police or fire at the time.
And is this an official record of the city of Alhambra?
Yes, it is, sir.
Made at or near the time of these events?
That's correct.
And it's a true and correct copy. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it's an accurate document reflecting the events that it shows.
It does, yes.
Is it divided into basically 3 parts, remarks, summary, and what's this here? And a kind of a chronology?
That's correct, sir.
Could you explain that for us a little bit? Why?
Well, the CAD system that we used at the time, and all CAD systems are different. And this vendor, the way they created it, reflects the events that are entered by the dispatcher on this first part of this document. And then it lists a summary of what takes place. It also describes the dispatcher. It is timestamped, so it gives you a date and the time that the incident or the comment was entered. It does indicate at what position that comment was made in. The event chronology gives you a overall view of how the event developed.
And that overall view not only involves the initial 911 call, but also Alhambra Police Department and Fire Department activity concerning the call?
This here does not reflect, this is not a fire incident, this is just the police department dispatch incident form.
So it would reflect Alhambra Police Department
That's correct.
activity
Correct.
with respect to this one call to 911 to your city.
That's correct.
As we look at page 1 of People's 37 for identification, let me ask you that. I'll withdraw that and ask you this. You've already told us about the cassette or CD that was made of this call, right?
Correct.
Is People's 37 another way that your city, through your dispatch center, documents a call like this?
A call where services or dispatch or resources, yes.
Okay. Now, looking at People's 37 for identification, page 1 at the top, this has the date and time, correct?
That's correct.
And that's February 3rd, 2003.
That's correct.
And does it reflect the time that the call first came in?
It does. It indicates 5:02 with 20 seconds.
And it also indicates the location of the call,
That's correct.
and that is?
1700 South Grandview Drive.
And the caller, the person that called 911?
It has the reporting person's name, Adriano Suaza, I believe that's what you pronounce it.
Souza?
ZA, correct.
And then the next, going down the page of People's 37, page 1 of People's 37, the next section is event remarks.
That's correct.
What is that exactly? How does that come about?
Those events are entered by the dispatcher who's taking the call, or the dispatcher who has dispatched the call, or any other operator that wants to put remarks section in this part of the incident form.
Now, with this part of the document, People's 37, the event remarks reflect comments made only by Alhambra personnel, or would it also reflect the CHP remarks?
This would be only remarks taken by dispatchers at Alhambra. And they could reflect comments that other officers made or other agencies.
About it earlier, this call was likely made from a cell phone to the CHP and then routed to Alhambra, right?
That's correct.
But the remarks we see here would only be from Alhambra personnel, the Alhambra dispatch operator who answered.
Our police boss has gun in his hand, shot a woman inside the castle.
The RP is who?
RP is the caller, Adriana.
Okay. And then a few minutes later, there's another entry under event remarks, correct?
That's correct.
And that is? Mark under that.
That's correct. Same date, time of 5:05, 12 seconds. RP is in a black Mercedes.
And after that, there's yet another remark.
At 5:09:09, RP came to pick up his boss at the above location. That person at the RP turned inside and he said,
The next section of People's 37, I'm going to go on to summary. Could you briefly tell us what that means?
that's basically indicates what dispatcher at what position, also including the time and date. It gives you a status of each of the units. Lets you know if it was dispatch, officers were en route. If it was waiting, the call that was cleared, and so forth.
Thank you. Again, on page 2, just that, we see, do you see that?
Yes.
Could you explain what that portion of the document
Enter into this incident in a corner
for police
police department, and that goes with date and time.
Looking at that portion of the document, that portion of People's 37, police department units from your city were dispatched to 1700 Grandview.
Yeah. They were dispatched at 5:03, 27 seconds.
And how many units?
There are 2 units.
Later on, did other units go there according to this document?
That is correct.
How many, can you tell?
Inflation and economic uncertainty have affected all of us. But if you have a structured settlement or annuity, J.G. Wentworth can help you get a lump sum of cash now in exchange for some or all of your future payments. J.G. Wentworth has helped individuals get over $290 million in the past year alone. So why live month to month in these uncertain economic times? Call J.G. Wentworth today at 877-CASH-NOW and get the cash you need now from your structured settlement. Call now.
I see 8 different ones on this first page.
Okay. Now, I'd like to invite your attention to page 3 of that same document, People's 37. As I look at that, it looks like event, maybe I should ask you about this, 109, do you see that?
Yes.
One detained clearinghouse. What does the 109 mean?
What on it's the unit number or the officer call sign?
And there it says next to 109, one detained clearinghouse. What does that mean?
Documented what was set on radio, and that They were clearing the house inside. They had officers inside clearing the house.
And what time did that occur?
That's an 8548.
So when Unit 109 radioed in and said that one person had been detained and they were clearing the house, that occurred at 5:48 or 5:49?
Around that time, yeah.
Okay. Give or take a minute?
It could have been. With every incident, sometimes a comment may be delayed because the dispatchers is multitasking, doing different things, but they're trying to get information in there as soon as possible, yes.
Now, again, as I look at page 3 of this document, it's fair to say this document's somewhat comprehensive. It documents just about everything that's going on, doesn't it?
Yes, once the dispatcher enters, it is timestamped and
It even tells us when the animal control people were sent up to this house.
that's correct.
And when is that? Looking at the bottom of the document.
Yeah, it looks like the Unit 2S or 2SAM call requested that at 6:29.
So from this document, at least what was told to the dispatchers, can we tell how long it was from when police department units from the city of Alhambra arrived at this location, 1700 Grandview, and when one person was detained? Can you tell that?
Let me take a look at that. The on-scene time here is 5:04 when the first officer arrived.
And you're looking at page 2.
I'm actually looking at more of the unit chronology.
Okay.
Yeah, on page 5,
Fine, thank you.
and that's Unit 104. He arrived at 5:04:37, and the detaining one.
Well, let me ask you a question about that since we haven't looked at page 5 before. Unit summary, briefly tell us what that's all about.
Again, it's just breaking it down. The incident is breaking the units summary, when they were dispatched, when they arrived.
Okay.
And
And looking,
towards the end, it tells you when they cleared this.
okay, and looking at the bottom half of page 5 in People's 37, Unit 104, it indicates that that unit was dispatched to the address on Grandview at 5:04:37. Is that correct, or is that when they arrived?
That is correct. And the way I'm looking at this, the primary units that were dispatched were 6 and 3. And by looking at the summary, it indicates that the officer put himself out also on that incident at that time, 5:04:37, which means that they're dispatched and they arrived on scene at the same time.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop it there because court is about to start in Massachusetts. I am not looking forward to today. I'm scared. I'm scared for Karen. But I'm also hopeful because I think that Proctor getting fired is going to help her out. But we'll talk about that over there. So please join me for the Karen Reed hearing, and hopefully good things will happen. So I will see you guys over there. And hopefully I'm not muted. Because who knows what StreamYard will do to me now. It hates me. So I'll see you guys over there. Bye.